The crystalline spires of Celesta Prime loomed overhead as Commander Ethan Frost straightened his uniform. Earth's diplomatic corps had chosen him for this mission because of his unflappable demeanor. But even he felt small beneath the towering alien architecture. Remember? Commander Admiral Wilson's voice crackled through his earpiece. The Solarians value strength above all. Don't show weakness, Ethan nodded, though no one could see him. The massive doors before him slid open with a hiss, revealing the Imperial Court, dozens of Solarians tall. Blue-skinned humanoids with iridescent markings turned to stare at him with pupilless silver eyes. The human envoy approaches, announced a herald. Voice echoing through the chamber, at the far end sat Emperor Zorith on a throne of what appeared to be liquid metal. Beside him stood Princess Navara, her skin a deeper azure than the others, intricate silver patterns flowing across her exposed shoulders. So, Emperor Zorith's voice rumbled, Earth sends one representative to negotiate access to our jump gates. Do humans value these talks so little? Ethan maintained eye contact. We value them enough to send someone with full authority to speak for Earth, Your Majesty. Efficiency, not disrespect. A murmur rippled through the court. Princess Navara stepped forward, circling Ethan slowly. He speaks boldly for one who has never faced combat, she said, her accent making the words sound like music. I can smell the softness of your kind, Commander Frost, always hiding behind your machines. Ethan didn't flinch. Appearances can deceive, Princess. Humans survived on a predator-filled world without natural weapons or armor. We learned other ways to be strong. Navara laughed, the sound like tinkling glass. Pretty words. But the Solarian Empire requires more than words. Emperor Zorith leaned forward. Deed. If humans wish passage through our gates, you must prove your species worthy. His silver eyes narrowed. You will face the trial of valor. Gasps erupted around the chamber. Navara's expression shifted momentarily. Was that concern? The trial has killed our strongest warriors, she said, almost too quietly for Ethan to hear. I accept, Ethan replied without hesitation. Later, in his assigned quarters, Ethan studied the trial protocols on his tablet. The door slid open without announcement, revealing Princess Navara. You'll die tomorrow, she stated flatly. Your concern is touching. Not concern, observation. The trial was designed for Solarian physiology. Ethan set down his tablet. Then I'll be the first human to complete it. Navara approached, her silver eyes studying him intensely. Interesting. You actually believe that? I do? She touched his face unexpectedly, her fingers cool against his skin. Perhaps there is more to humans than we thought. She withdrew her hand quickly as if burned. Prepare well, Commander. Tomorrow, all of Celesta watches. The gauntlet dawn broke over Celesta Prime in shades of purple and green. Ethan stood at the entrance to the gauntlet arena, a massive circular structure carved from a single asteroid. His Federation uniform had been replaced with the minimal protective gear allowed for trial participants, a light chestplate and arm guards that felt woefully inadequate. The human prepares for death, sneered Krell. The Emperor's combat master. Your bones will join our collection. Ethan ignored him, focusing on stretching his muscles. The arena's gravity was set slightly higher than Earth's standard, the first of many disadvantages he'd face. A shadow fell across him. Princess Navara approached, her ceremonial armor glinting in the alien sunlight. The court has wagered on how quickly you'll fall, she said, voice low. Most give you less than 5 minutes. And your wager, Princess? Her silver eyes met his. I placed no bet. Smart never bet against a human with nothing to lose. Something flickered across her face, curiosity perhaps. The trial has 3 phases. Survival, combat, endurance. No human physiology can. I studied the protocols, Ethan interrupted. Thank you for your ... information. Navara stepped closer. You misunderstand. The protocols lie. She glanced around, then pressed something small and cold into his palm. When the acid rain begins, use this. Before he could respond, she was gone, rejoining the royal procession. The horns blared, signaling the start. Ethan entered the arena to jeers and mockery. Emperor Zorith watched from his elevated platform, Navarra beside him, her face unreadable. "Begin Phase 1. Survival," announced the arena master. The ground beneath Ethan's feet began to shift. Panels retracted, revealing pools of bubbling liquid. The temperature plummeted, then soared, testing environmental adaptability. Ethan moved methodically, using the terrain mapping he'd memorized overnight. When the acid rain began falling and marked in any protocol, he crushed the capsule Navarra had given him. A thin force field shimmered around him momentarily, neutralizing the burning droplets. From the royal box, Navarra watched intently. Emperor Zorith noticed her focus. "Daughter, you seem invested in this human's performance," he noted suspiciously. "Merely scientific curiosity, father. Their adaptability is ... unexpected." Below, Ethan completed the first phase, his skin reddened, but intact. The crowd's jeers had diminished to murmurs of surprise. "Phase 2, Combat," announced the arena master. 3 Solarian warriors entered, armed with energy staves. Ethan stood center arena, seemingly defenseless. "Your diplomacy ends here, human," called the lead warrior. Ethan simply smiled. "Who said I was just a diplomat?" What happened next stunned the arena into silence. Ethan moved with precision and speed that belied his species, using the Solarians' superior strength against them. His Earth Special Forces, training omitted from his diplomatic credentials, showed in every calculated movement in the royal box. Navarra leaned forward, eyes wide. "Father, he fights like a shadow dancer." Emperor Zorith frowned deeply. "Impossible." Yet below, Ethan continued, proving the impossible possible. Blood trickled from a cut above Ethan's eye as he faced the final Solarian warrior, to already lay unconscious at the arena's edge. Defeated by a combination of human adaptability and combat techniques the aliens had never encountered, the crowd had fallen into a stunned silence, punctuated by occasional gasps when Ethan executed particularly unexpected maneuvers. The last warrior, a brute named Grax, circled Ethan warily. "Your tricks won't work on me, human," he snarled. "They're not tricks," Ethan replied calmly. "Just different solutions." Grax charged, energy staff crackling. Instead of dodging, Ethan stepped into the attack, using the momentum to flip his much larger opponent. A precise strike to a neural cluster information Navarra had secretly provided, and Grax collapsed. "Phase 2, complete," the arena master announced. Disbelief evident in his voice. In the royal box, Emperor Zorith slammed his fist down. "This is impossible." Navarra's eyes never left Ethan. "Yet it happens, father." "Yeah, sound pleased, daughter." She composed her expression carefully. Merely impressed by his resourcefulness. "Phase 3, Endurance," came the announcement. This was what Navarra had feared most. The arena floor opened completely, revealing a pit of shifting crystal sand microscopic shards that would slowly slice through any exposed skin. Participants had to cross while carrying a ceremonial stone weighing nearly twice what a human could normally bear. Ethan approached the massive stone. Knowing this was where most Solarians failed, the crowd leaned forward expectantly, waiting for his defeat. Even Navarra held her breath. Ethan studied the stone, then the pit. Then, instead of attempting to lift the stone conventionally, he leveraged his body in a way the Solarians hadn't considered, using physics rather than brute strength. "What is he doing?" Emperor Zorith demanded. Finding another solution, Navarra whispered. Step by excruciating step, Ethan crossed the pit, blood seeping from his feet, where the crystal sand bit into his skin. When he reached the other side, he carefully placed the stone on the platform and collapsed to one knee, breathing heavily. The arena fell completely silent. No human had ever completed the trial. No outsider of any species had. The trial is complete, the arena master finally announced later. In the medical chamber, Ethan winced as the healers treated his wounds. The door slid open, and Navarra entered, dismissing the healers with a gesture. You survived, she said, approaching his bedside. Disappointed? Her hand reached out, hovering near his wounded arm. The opposite. Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them. Navarra's fingertips lightly brushed his skin, sending an unexpected warmth through him. Why did you help me? Ethan asked quietly. Perhaps I wanted to see if humans are truly as remarkable as their reputation suggests. Her silver eyes softened. Perhaps I was right. Forbidden Bond 3 cycles of Celesta's twin sons had passed since Ethan's triumph in the arena. The diplomatic negotiations had progressed, with the Solarian court now treating the human representative with cautious respect. But something else had progressed too, something neither Ethan nor Navarra had anticipated. They stood now in the crystalline gardens, hidden from view by towering luminescent plants. The princess's hand rested in Ethan's, her blue skin stark against his. Your father would have me executed for touching you like this, Ethan said, his thumb tracing circles on her palm. Navarra stepped closer, the patterns on her skin pulsing gently. My father still believes I'm merely studying human diplomacy. Ah! Is that all this is? Research. Ethan's voice was soft, but his eyes challenged her. Instead of answering, Navarra leaned forward and pressed her lips to his human gesture she had studied, but never experienced. The sensation sent waves of warmth through her normally cool body. Does that answer your question, Commander? She whispered against his mouth. Ethan's arms encircled her waist, pulling her closer. I believe I need more data to form a conclusion. Their second kiss deepened, crossing boundaries between species that neither had thought possible. Navarra's markings glowed brighter with each passing moment. Your patterns, Ethan murmured, tracing the illuminated lines on her shoulder. They're beautiful. They reflect emotional states we normally hide, she admitted, vulnerability in her voice. You should see how they look when I think of you alone in my chambers. The implication hung between them, dangerous and enticing. Later that evening, Ethan slipped through the palace corridors. Following the secret pathway Navarra had described, the risk was enormous. Discovery would mean not only his death but potentially war between their peoples. Her private chambers were awash in soft blue light. Navarra stood by the window, her ceremonial robes replaced by a simple shift that revealed the full pattern of markings across her. Body markings now pulsing with anticipation. You came, she said, turning to him. Wild space beasts couldn't keep me away. She approached slowly. There is something you should know. This connection between a Solarian royal and an outsider, it forms a bond our people consider sacred and irreversible. Ethan took her hands. On Earth, we have similar concepts. Commitment. Love. Love, she repeated, tasting the unfamiliar word. Is that what this is? I crossed your impossible trial. Crossing species boundaries seems simple, by comparison. Her markings flared bright as his hands found the ties of her garment. Show me this human love, Ethan Frost. The night that followed taught them both that some languages need no translation. The imperial court buzzed with tension as Emperor Zorith reviewed the proposed treaty. Ethan stood tall at the negotiation table, aware that more hung in the balance than just diplomatic relations. His gaze occasionally met Navarra's across the chamber, their secret heavy between them. These terms are acceptable, Emperor Zorith finally conceded, surprising the court. Humanity has proven its worth through your trial completion, Commander Frost. Whispers rippled through the gathered dignitaries. Ethan bowed respectfully. Earth values this alliance, Your Majesty. Our peoples have much to offer each other, indeed. The Emperor's silver eyes narrowed slightly, though I wonder what else our peoples might be. Sharing the implication was clear. Ethan's heart raced, but his face remained impassive. Before he could respond, Navarra stepped forward. Father, before we formalize this treaty, there is another matter requiring your attention. Emperor Zorith frowned. This is hardly the time, daughter. It is precisely the time. Her voice rang, clear through the chamber as she moved to stand beside Ethan. I claim the right of selection? Gasps erupted throughout the court. The ancient right had not been invoked in generations, the right of a royal Solarian to choose their own mate, regardless of political alignments. Emperor Zorith rose from his throne. You cannot be serious. A human. The same human who conquered our unconquerable trial, Navarra countered, her markings glowing fiercely. The same human who has negotiated terms favorable to both our peoples, her hand found Ethan's. The same human I love. The chamber exploded in chaos. Ethan squeezed Navarra's hand, overwhelmed by her public declaration. This is madness, the Emperor thundered. I forbid it. You cannot, by our oldest laws, Navarra replied calmly. And consider, Father, what? Stronger alliance could exist between our peoples, a better symbol of unity. A tense silence fell. Emperor Zorith studied them both. Centuries of tradition warring with political pragmatism in his expression. Finally he spoke. You would bind yourself to this human forever? I already have, Navarra answered. The question is whether you will recognize what cannot be undone. Ethan stepped forward. Your Majesty, I came here to build a bridge between our worlds. I never expected that bridge would include your daughter. But I swear to you, on my honor and my world's future, that my commitment to her matches my commitment to peace. Long moments passed as the Emperor considered. The court held its collective breath. The human speaks well, Emperor Zorith finally said, his voice softer. And you, daughter, have never backed down once your mind was set. He sighed deeply. Perhaps this is the next evolution of our empire. He descended from his throne and approached them. To everyone's shock, he took their joined hands in his. The right of selection is acknowledged, he declared. Let it be recorded that Princess Navarra has chosen Commander Ethan Frost of Earth, and with this union, a new chapter begins for both our worlds. Navarra's markings glowed with joy as she turned to Ethan. It seems humans are not the only ones who can adapt, she whispered. That's why we'll make a good match, he replied, before sealing their unusual diplomatic victory with a very human kiss. The end.